we are going to be having a look at the area of squares and rectangles. The formula for the area of a square or a rectangle is length multiplied by breadth. So we can abbreviate those to be length times breadth, or L times B. So the area of a square or a rectangle is equal to length times breadth. Right, so let's first have a look at this square. Because we know the properties of squares, we know that all the sides in a square are equal. So if we are given what the length or breadth of a square is, we know that the other sides will be exactly the same. So this 9 millimeters helps us a lot with working out the area of this square. So the area of this square will be equal to 9 multiplied by 9. And 9 multiplied by 9 is equal to 81. So now we need to also be very aware of the measurement involved in area. So because what we are actually working with here is 9 millimeters multiplied by 9 millimeters, we are saying millimeters multiplied by millimeters. So in the same way that 9 multiplied by 9 is 9 squared, which is equal to 81. Millimeters to the power of 1, there's an imaginary 1 there, and millimeters to the power of 1. When we are multiplying millimeters by millimeters, we end up with millimeters squared. So whenever we are working with area, because we are multiplying the measurement by itself, we end up with that measurement squared. So the area for this square, which is 9 millimeters by 9 millimeters, will be equal to 81 millimeters squared. Let's have a look at this rectangle over here. Again, the area for a rectangle is length times breadth. So what do we need to do? We need to identify where the length is, which is the longer side there. So our length is 12 centimeters, and we are multiplying our 12 centimeters by our breadth, which is the shorter side, which is 7 centimeters. So what we need to do now is multiply our numbers. So we've got 12 multiplied by 7 is 84, and centimeters multiplied by centimeters is equal to centimeters squared. So the area of this rectangle of 12 centimeters by 7 centimeters is equal to 84 centimeters squared. We are now going to have a look at the perimeter of squares and rectangles. So again, we need to know what the formula for the perimeter of a square and a rectangle is. And the formula is simply side plus side plus side plus side. Because our squares and our rectangles are quadrilaterals, they have 4 straight sides. So all we need to do is add all the sides up together. So obviously when we are working with squares, we can use a slightly simpler formula. We can just say 4 times your side. Because we know that all the sides are equal, we can just multiply the one side by 4 and we will get our answer. And that will just be in the normal measurement, not measurement squared like with area. So with our rectangles, there is also a slightly easier formula that we can use, we can say 2 times the length plus 2 times the breadth. So if I rewrite that, I can say 2 times L, and do that first, obviously because of BODMAS, and plus 2 times B, which is our breadth. So we can use those different formulae to work out the the perimeter of a square and a rectangle. So if we have a look here, the area of our square will be equal to the perimeter of our square. The perimeter of our square is equal to 4 times our side, which is equal to 4 multiplied by 9 millimeters, and that is equal to 36 millimeters. So the perimeter of our square is 36 millimeters. If we then have a look at the perimeter of our rectangle, we have got, or let's use a better color there, perimeter of our rectangle, let's use the formula 2 times the length plus 2 times breadth. And the reason that we say 2 times L plus 2 times B is because remember these sides are equal, opposite sides are equal. So this side is also 12 centimeters and this side is also 7 centimeters. So we end up, instead of plussing 12 plus 12 and then 7 plus 7, we can just say 12 times 2, which is 2 times our length. So 2 times 12 plus 2 times our breadth, which is 7. And we end up with 24 plus 14. And that gives us an answer of 38. And we remember our measurement is centimeters. So the perimeter of our rectangle is equal to 38 centimeters. If we are asked to find the area and perimeter of this square, which has dimensions of 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters, all we need to do is remember our formulae. So let's start with our area. So the area of a square, remember, is length times breadth. So because our length and our breadth are equal to each other, you can just say length times length, or breadth times breadth, or side times side. So we end up with 1.5 multiplied by 1.5. And if you work that out, we get an answer of 2.25. And because we are multiplying meters by meters, we end up with a measurement of meters squared. Right, so the area of this square is 2.25 meters squared. If we then move on to the perimeter of this square, what we need to do is remember the formula for the perimeter of a square, which is side plus side plus side plus side. So we can use that formula. Or we can just say, because there are 4 sides, we say 4 times side, because we know that those sides are equal to each other. So 4 times side is 4 times 1.5, which is equal to 6.0, or just 6. So that gives us an answer of 6, and we don't use squared measurements because we are not multiplying meters by meters here, so we just use meters. So the perimeter of our square, which has a side of 1.5, is equal to 6 meters. If we are asked to find the area and perimeter of this rectangle, what we first need to do or identify is that these dimensions are measured in different measurements. So we need to first convert both measurements into the same kind so that we are either working with just centimeters or just meters. So because converting centimeters into meters would give us a decimal, it would give us an answer of 0.34. Instead of working with decimals, we need to try and see if we can work with whole numbers if it is at all possible. So because we know that working from or converting from meters to centimeters, we multiply by 100, we would end up with 16 centimeters. So 0.16 meters is equivalent to 16 centimeters. So converting both our measurements into centimeters seems to work out much better. So that is what we first need to identify and work through, is making sure that our measurements are in the same measurement. So now we have got 34 centimeters by 16 centimeters, and then we don't need to worry about our 0.16 anymore. Right, so now we can start working through the area. The area of a rectangle is equal to length times breadth. That is the first step you must always put down is the formula. Right, so then we plug in our length, which is 34 centimeters, and we multiply it by our breadth, which is 16 centimeters. So 34 centimeters multiplied by 16 centimeters, we obviously need to do on the side, and we will end up with an answer of 544 centimeters squared, because remember we are multiplying centimeters by centimeters, so our area will always be in our measurement squared. So the area of this rectangle, 34 centimeters by 16 centimeters, gives us an answer of 544 centimeters. Right, if we have a look at the perimeter of our rectangle, we could use the formula side plus side plus side plus side, because we have got 4 sides altogether, but we know that these two sides are equal and these two sides are equal. So if opposite sides are equal, what we can say is 2 times the length plus 2 times the breadth, because we know that this other breadth is also 16 centimeters and the other length is also 34 centimeters. So we've got 34 plus 34, which is the same as 34 times 2, or 2 multiplied by 34. And we've got 2 multiplied by our breadth, because we've got 2 breadths. So we end up with 2 multiplied by 16. And it's important to show all these steps and all your working out. So you should probably do some working out on the side, and you'll find that 2 times 34 is 68. And 68 plus 2 times 16, which is 32. 68 plus 32 will give us an answer of 100. And because we are working with centimeters, we have our answer in centimeters, not centimeters squared, just centimeters. So the perimeter of this rectangle, 34 centimeters by 16 centimeters, gives us an answer of 100 centimeters.